Major concerns from MDGs are deepened inequality between North and South, within countries, between men and women, within and outside the households, extreme poor live in countries like India and China, high violence of women, and destructive patterns of consumption and production. Civil society has been discussing and taking forward the agenda for development justice, which means achieving redistributive justice, economic justice, ecological justice, social and gender justice, accountability to people and means of implementation. United Nations at high-level political forum ensures that the civil society is not here as an observer but as an equal partner. In the last 1.5 years, 13 OWGs have taken place and the final document is out with 17 goals and about 168 targets. Modalities of these will be discussed in September and negotiations will start from January. While the developing countries pushed for MOIs as standalone goal, common but differentiated responsibilities, universalities, inequality between nations, fight for policy space, etc. The developed country says no to MOIs, no increase in ODA and partnership means coming in of the corporate sector, no regulation of corporate sector, etc. Overall, MOI is weak, accountability is weak, and SDGs still lack substance. In post-2015 framework, the countries want development to be seen as a bigger agenda, bigger space, more freedom and more funding. The discussion on avenues and space for CSOs to intervene in the Sustainable Development Board processes pointed out that while UN system has 9 major groups who have the privilege to participate in the proceedings and played roles in agenda setting and agenda shaping, there also is an intergovernmental committee of expertise. The high-level political forum has replaced the Commission for Sustainable Development and is placed in ECOSOC and UN General Assembly and will look into implementation and monitoring of Sustainable Development Goals. It is the only space provided at the regional level. All regional offices of UN are supposed to have preparatory meetings. The regional civil society engagement mechanism is based on development justice agenda. It goes beyond 9 major groups mechanism and has suggested 13 sectors of groups. This has been acknowledged by the UNSCAP and this at the national level. UNDP does some consultation with CSOs, but the government does not hold any consultations. The structure of multilateral agencies we discussed on World Bank is undemocratic. Influence on policies is quite high, can bring in private sector and weaken the public sector and institutions. And national laws are being undermined. Notes of divide on SDGs was again pointed out, which is fundamentally due to different starting points. The countries do want to carry on with MDGs raising the bar. Member states are prepared to acknowledge that inequality has increased. There is recognition that something concrete should be done on environment. Negotiation should be done on the basis of OWGs and will be driven through intergovernmental processes. The world that we want must have 4 dimensions. This was discussed by Mr. Ashish Kothari. He said that we need to look to pursue direct democracy, economic democracy, social justice and equity, and ecological sustainability. Certain values and principles are critical to attain this. Goals for India can include safeguarding nature and integrity of nature, meeting basic needs, livelihoods, sustainable production and consumption, infrastructure, service and welfare, macroeconomic framework and political governance. Indicators, tools and methods suggested building those globally and in other countries, and consultations with those who are left out like the poor and the Dalits. In the afternoon session, we looked into transformation of critical areas, food sovereignty and sustainable agriculture, livelihoods and employment, gender equality and empowerment, land and access to resources, health, climate change and disaster, marginalization and exclusion, rule of law and governance. Major points made are forest as food producing habitat, land to be part of food security and sovereignty, stronger language on entitlement, pure men and women, sustainable farm livelihoods, minimum living income, ecological agriculture sector around smallholders, clear lack of understanding what climate change is doing to the people. Disaster is only restricted to rescue and relief at present. The concept of disaster risk reduction is not implemented, and there is a need to review the national policy on disaster. There is a need to understand the intersectionality, etc. As CSOs, we need to identify the red flags and be proactive. It is not sufficient to nationalize, but take the debate up to the state and the community level. The communities must be consulted and need to be sensitized. Implementation of several acts can be looked from the lens of communities and built into our development paradigms, with efforts to link community aspiration to global processes. Thank you very much. I hope I have included everything. If there is something left, you can add. Thank you. I'll give it to Anisa.
Thank you so much, Veena. Now I invite Anisa and Sushmita to orient us on goals and targets in sustainable development goals. Now projection is possible from here, I guess. वो कहाँ गए?
Yeah, even if this does not get projected, and if you have copies of this document, introduction to proposal of open working group, I think this is there in the paper. In case you don't have it, I will request you to pick up a copy of this. You're not able to project. This is the document that says introduction to proposal of the open working group for sustainable development. Ajay is there. Basically, SDGs, the entire goals and targets list of. Thank you, Veena. That was very helpful to actually, a good recap, and then we can actually link it to what we are going to be talking now and in the following session. Yesterday, I think it's as it is quite overwhelming, but what we were trying to do was to go from MDGs to SDGs and actually engage and understand things on a few critical areas. And I think it was a good kind of an overview by these, at least, in terms of the process and how it's going to be going forward and what are going to be the role of the government, at least, the India government. So I just want to quickly go through the Sustainable Development Goals. We've been talking about SDGs, but what are these goals? And then we know that there are 17 goals and 168, 169 targets. So, and then further they will, have indicators. I'm not sure if indicators are going to be at national level, they're going to be set at national level, or this is something which will be, I don't know how we're going to get to that stage. But it gives the SDGs and the targets give us a good sense of what are going to be the elements which will be covered under each goal. For example, poverty or health, where they are focusing within health, what is going to be, how they're going to be measuring the progress on that particular goal. So if you can just go to page 5, it has a list of all the goals, and I'll just quickly go through these. I mean, it's just list, but I think number 1 is end poverty in all its forms everywhere. And so I'll go through these 17 goals, and maybe we can pick up 1 or 2 and then see how the goal is broken down, how they have come from goal to basically indicators, and that can help us when we are going into our following session of our group work or plenary in which we are discussing our national kind of goals and indicators. It just helps us to think how we're going to be breaking it down. So I'll just pick up 1, 2 later. But just going through, number 1 is end poverty in all its forms everywhere. Number 2, this was also in NDG. Number 2 is end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, promote sustainable agriculture. So sustainable agriculture is this is a new goal. Third is ensure healthy lives and promote well-being of all and all ages. ensure inclusive and equitable quality education, which was also there in MDGs, but it's different, it's been articulated differently, and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, achieve gender equality and improve all women and girls, empower all women and girls, ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation. So this is a new thing that has come in. Ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy. So energy is another goal. Promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full of productive employment and decent work for all. Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. And of course, when we're talking about these goals, we can discuss, I mean, what are the gaps and things. I mean, that is the idea, and how we can basically, through our discussion and the issue in the context, the present context, what all we can propose within this. But I'm not sure, like what Lise was saying, all these goals that are put in, how many will remain, what will get added, 17 may become less or more, or probably less. And the language, of course, can also differ. But this is what the civil society has been able to kind of push, and the open working group process has come to. So this is a draft we are taking as a step to kind of go forward now. So and therefore, and going to number 10, which is big, reduce inequality within and among countries, something that Ranja was talking about yesterday. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. Number 12 is ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Number 13 is take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. That's of course very, very new. Conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas and marine resources for sustainable agriculture, sustainable development. Protect, restore and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem, manage forest, combat desertification and land degradation, biodiversity loss, and promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, and strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. This is a list of goals, and just to for all of us to be on one page and understand that these are going to be the focus areas. And I will request Sushmita, if you want to talk about, let's say we can pick a health goal. Sushmita is from IPPF, and so if we can pick up, let's say, health goal and see how they have broken it down into indicators and what are the gaps and how we are going. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you. Myself Sushmita Chaudhary. I work for International Planned Parenthood Federation South Asian region, and I apologize I was not present yesterday. It's my loss, but thank you that I am able to be here today. As Anisha said, we now, since we will be looking into each of the goals in a much more intense manner, but before that we tried to think of giving a global overview, how these goals and the targets have come in. So I will be talking on goal 3, if you can just look into ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages, which is basically the health goal. Anyway, even if it doesn't come over there. The first target that they have made is by 2030 reduce the global maternal mortality ratio to less than 70 per 100,000 live births. So this is earlier, I remember, and also I think Ranja, who has been participating in the OWG, it earlier said that less than 40 per 100,000, which has been increased to less than 70 per 100,000, which is a good thing. However, the thing that is missing over here is the morbidity. So it doesn't talk about what are the preventable causes of reducing the maternal mortality, which is nowhere given in global target 1. However, if the thing is, the good point is, if we look into the MDG and this one, is they have separated maternal health with the child health. So if you see target 2, 3.2 is by 2030 end preventable deaths of newborns and under 5 children. So here at least they talk about preventable deaths. So here the mortality thing has been captured. The third is by 2030 end the epidemics of AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria and other neglected tropical diseases and combat hepatitis, waterborne diseases and other communicable diseases. So this is very much linked with the MTG which was on reduction of HIV and AIDS and other communicable diseases. By 2030, number 4 is reduced by 1/3 premature mortality from non-communicable diseases and promote maternal health and well-being through prevention and treatment. So this is basically on the non-communicable diseases. Next we have, which is more focused on substance abuse and including narcotic drug abuse and harmful use of alcohol, which is something very much new and which is required considering that MDGs were like 15 years back and now these are some of the problems that we are facing. So in this way, this is much more forward looking. By 2020, half global deaths and injuries from road traffic accidents. We know like this is another important thing through which the number of deaths happen through road traffic accidents. 3.7 talks about by 2030 ensure universal access to sexual and reproductive healthcare services, including for family planning, information and education, and the integration of reproductive health into national strategies and programs. This in MDG 5B used to talk about sexual reproductive health, but here it is very much specifically talking about the healthcare services, including family planning, modern contraceptives, etc. However, it doesn't talk about the sexual reproductive health rights. If we don't address the sexual reproductive health rights of a woman, then how can services also empower the woman and the young people? So considering that, this is one thing that from the health sector organizations we are trying to push. Achieve universal health coverage, 3.8, including financial risk protection, access to quality essential healthcare services, access to safe, effective, quality and affordable essential medicines and vaccines for all. As we have been discussing in the global and the regional discussions, like it talks about coverage, and we felt like it also needs to include the care aspect, because if it is only coverage, then it sort of shows us as an insurance only that we are trying to talk. Then we have 3.9. By 2030, substantially reduce the number of deaths and illnesses from hazardous chemicals and air, water and soil pollution and contamination. Then it has been divided into 4 more. Strengthen implementation of the framework of tobacco control, which is again like everywhere we are now seeing like why it is important to control the tobacco consumption. The 3.B is more on research and development of vaccines and medicines, and it also addresses how the countries need to fulfill the provisions of the TRIPS agreement regarding flexibilities to protect public health and provide access to medicines. 3.C is increase substantially health financing and recruitment, developing and training. This is more on the health workforce, especially in the least developing countries and the small island developing countries. 3.D is strengthen the capacity of all countries, particularly developing countries, for warning global risk reduction and of national and global health risks. So these are some of the these are all the targets that have been given. If we look into in the next session, when we look into the national level, how we need to work, we understand that we need to be, in case of India, we have such a huge, still now being India no more like a developing in the sense country, we still have very high maternal mortalities. So how to goal 3.1 we need to address and what should be our strategies. Secondly, same in case of 3.2 as well, we have high neonatal deaths and under 5 deaths. So how we are going to address those aspects. And of course, even if we have seen that there has been overall decrease in HIV new infection, but it is now increased in the bridge population, which is the migrant population. So it has the higher risk of getting into not only to the targeted groups of earlier that we were working drug users and commercial sex workers, but now it can get into the general population. So how we need to work in that. This is basically on the health goal. I will just want to take 5 minutes to talk on the gender goal, where if you see goal 5, which is achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. The first thing that I want to point out over here is that none of the targets have any timeline. None of the targets, if you see. In other, you will see it says by 2030 or whatever, but this one doesn't have. So that is one of the major things that we need to work on. If we get into 5.3, eliminate all harmful practices such as child, early and post-marriage and female genital mutilations. This is of course there, but we understand from other processes that is going on. Very recently there was a Beijing platform of action and also other processes that is going on, where member states are basically talking about, well, let's take out child. But we know India, Bangladesh, these are the countries who are the highest child marriages. So where lies the problem of taking out the child? They are saying we can keep early and post marriage, but please take out the child. So this is one area that I think we need to push. 5.6, it again talks about universal access to sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights. All the member states have a major problem when we talk about sexual reproductive health rights, but they are happy with sexual reproductive health and reproductive rights. So always thinking women as only mothers, but the question of their right to decide for their own body is not being accepted. So we need to work on these, and also if you read the whole statement, it says in accordance with the program of action of ICPT. But we understand that we have come 15 years for MDG and 20 years from ICPT. This document has to be a forward-looking document. We cannot go back to what was written in the ICPT 20 years back. So here are some of the areas that I think, considering we come back to India, we know where lies our problem. Take only one state, Delhi, we know where lies our problem on gender equality and women's empowerment. So what should be our strategies? I think it has to be in the next session, Ranjan. Okay, so that's from my end. I will not touch most of the other targets of gender. When I think we work in plenary, I think we will be more working on those targets. Do you want to work on the topic? Okay, thank you so much.
So what we had planned to do was basically now kind of talk in very concrete terms, and that's why Sushmita and Anisa talked about the goals and targets. But we want to see what suits us nationally, not only nationally. Yesterday we had a lot of discussion about the regions, and that's the idea. Let's start from the grassroots communities, what works best for us. So the purpose of going through the SDGs, one is that's the global agenda, right? So probably, India will say yes. There'll be further negotiations, maybe whatever it looks like. It will look something similar to this. It will not be exactly this. There'll be further cuts, etc., etc. Now, if that India agrees to, then we have that, and we can tell our governments, okay, you have agreed to this. So it's not going to be a very good document at all, but it will be something. So one scope is that we will use it, we can hold our government accountable, and as civil society, for furthering our development work, we can use it strategically, right? So one job for us is to go through these, which they already started that process, that you all have your own areas, which is your area of interest and specialization. Go through the document, look at those goals, and then we can quickly see what works for us at India level, what doesn't work for us. But the other thing is also not to be limited by this document at all. Yesterday we discussed how many issues for us are very important, and because many of you are from the States, you know what specific concerns we have which need to be addressed in our specific context. So we also want those inputs, and we want to, when we kind of draft our own set of goals and targets, we will also put it in so that our document or our concerns, our goals and targets do not have to mimic it at all. We will draw from this SDG document, we will use it the way it suits us, but we also kind of put in continuously our own inputs, and we can have in fact a completely different set of goals and a different set of targets. The idea is we use this material for our own purpose, for understanding and kind of easing our work, our development work, right? So with that, I mean, because we can't go through all these 16, 17 goals, one thing maybe is to decide whether we want to like do all these 17 goals work for us, or do we kind of work with a different set of clusters and priorities, not a different, but kind of a club form of these. So and with that purpose, we remember we had organized the post-lunch discussion yesterday. We had picked up some key issues among these, and then we had kind of inputs, and the speakers kind of, told us about the key concerns, and we had already discussed. So keeping that in mind, what we were suggesting initially are kind of set of 6, 7 clusters, but then we can look at that SDG document, anything else that's very relevant and other issues also are, we can also put them in. But I'm suggesting that first let's start off with maybe a kind of clustered discussion. What we were initially thinking we'll break into groups, and each group discusses that and comes back with kind of some kind of specific targets, etc. And they also have like a this goal title. There was a big fight over all these titles, like no rule of law in goal 16 and climate change, whether it will have reference to UNFCCC, etc., etc. So if you want to have specific language in the goals, that with the targets. But because we don't have enough people, we thought it's best to work with everybody working together. So we'll give kind of all these clusters, each of them some time, and then we move on to the next cluster. But if we want to have very detailed discussions, what we will do is we will do an initial draft based on the response from this session, and then we open it up for further feedback. We all can think about it more, giving further feedback, and we also then want to have regional consultations. What we want to do is kind of get your support in having, because there's no point in talking about it in Delhi. It will simply mimic the global process where, as Ajay said yesterday, everything is New York centric. It's the New York based big NGOs who dictate this whole, whatever civil society voices are there, are mainly very north-based big NGOs who are sitting in New York, Very few southern and very few Asian organizations are actually represented there, and we don't want to do the same thing in India. So our next step is actually to have regional consultations and do the same process. Like we say, okay, we met in a group in Delhi, this is what we came up with, but then what works for you and your region? What other specific concerns do you have which you want to project? And later in the post-lunch session, I think everybody is now wanting to probably wrap up. So we'll discuss the content in the morning, and after lunch we will quickly discuss then how, once we have that final document, maybe after 2-3 more regional consultations, what do we do with it? How do we talk to our state governments, local governments? How do we talk to our national government? How do we say that, okay, you have some sustainable development goals, but this is what we, from the people, these are the concerns which are coming, and how do we then take this forward, right? So what we were suggesting initially is one set of issues, agriculture, food, land related, and Kavita can kick off some of that discussion, like as inputs. So that's the first set of clusters, which is goal 2 here. But land issues, etc., are also spread across, as Anisa had pointed out yesterday, across many of the other goals. So we kind of pull that together. So agriculture, food, land related cluster 1. Then second set of issue, poverty, inequality, and marginalization, which is goal 1 here. Goal 10, which is the inequality goal. But again, these issues, the inequality, marginalization issues are also again spread across many of the other goals. Third, I am suggesting on gender equality, empowerment. That discussion has come out very, very strongly through the SDGs, and we know it's an important issue for India as well. Fourth cluster of issues on employment, livelihood, and some you will see this goal 8, 9 are all kind of economics related. We don't want to make it entirely economics and growth, but with a development perspective. That's the idea, like we do it our way, but we also need to talk about employment, livelihoods, like Kavita pointed out, rural livelihoods, even urban industrialization, and all these issues, how do we tackle them so that it works for the people, it gives them jobs and income. So that's the fourth cluster of issues. The fifth is the social sector, health, education, and Sushmita has already taken us through that health goal, and we can work further what works for us in the Indian context. Sixth, related to climate, environment related issues, specific stuff. Because remember, all through we are talking about the three aspects: economic, social and environmental. So whatever goals and targets we talk of, we are trying to kind of get a balance between all these aspects. And yesterday Ashish spoke in detail about how to talk about economic issues but keeping the environment in mind. So we are always keeping these three pillars in mind. And but